Today I'll talk about how do you decide which college to apply to. It is one of the most frequently asked questions I get. That how do you decide like, which are the 5 or the 10 colleges you'll apply to? And my answer to that is a mix of 5 factors, starting with geography, then there's visa issues, then there's financial constraints or funding available to students. Then the fourth one is speciality of the college. And last but not the least is the weather of the place. Well, I'll begin with the first one, uh, which geography do you want to live and work in the short or the medium term. So whenever you study, say if you study in Europe or US, um, or a specific country in say Europe, the local job market might open for you. While other job markets are not impossible to get into, it gets harder if you don't actually spend the 2 years in that country, right? Because a lot of post MBA jobs are filled using a lot of networking events, a lot of one on one outreach that you will have to do, some coffee chats that you might have to do with the existing employees of the company to express interest, to understand the company, as well as to show a lot of passion towards working in that company. And all of this needs you to be physically present in that geography or at that company's events, which means unless you're super rich and you keep traveling between, say, Europe and US, um, it is harder to not study, say, in US and recruit for a job in US and vice versa. That said, there are always exchange programs happening, and you can, say you're studying at a college in Europe, you want to recruit in US. I have seen students do an exchange at Wharton and leverage that time they have there to network or look for jobs. But that said, if you really want to say live and work in the US, you should go for a US school. If you really want to live with your family and work long term in Canada or Europe, then you should consider the colleges in these geographies. And so geography bit is covered. The second a factor that I'd mentioned was visa. So yeah, lately, well, the world over, there's protectionism on the rise, and one of the ways it is signaled is that whether you are a student or a current working professional, your work visa has been like restricted to certain kinds of jobs, or it has generally been made harder. Hence, employers are not willing to hire international candidates. Now that's a, I would say, sad reality that some of us have had to face at various points of time. And it is often not a well expressed or well communicated reality. Um, but know this, and you'll only know this by speaking to the either the recent alumni or people who are currently in the first or the second year of the same college. So speak to a lot of them to try to understand what is the scenario right now, um, to see what jobs are realistically offering to hire international candidates. And then you'd have a more realistic estimate of what jobs are open for you. For example, I get a lot of questions. Oh, I want to study development sector related courses, and my general assessment and knowledge on that is that you development consulting does not sponsor visas, right? In US, so you cannot work at those consulting firms specializing in, say, non-profit work, because that route is closed for you. Similarly, I wanted to work in general management programs or marketing, and lately there was a lot of reluctance on firms to sponsor visas for those roles. So it is not impossible, but highly likely that certain kinds of firms, such as consulting firms, or certain kinds of professions or roles, I have a high likelihood of accepting an international candidates. So you have to be aware of those realities so that you go with realistic expectations into making that huge financial investment that you will have to make for your MBA. So we've covered geography, we've covered visa issues, and how do you understand them by talking to recent alumni or recent or current students. The third one is the financial planning around the college. So do it earlier than later, because a lot of information around whether the college offers co-signed loans, um, uh, or rather whether the college offers non-cosigner loans and college becomes your cosigner, is available on the FAQs of under financial aid of the college anyways. And if you don't find that information, feel free to mail the academic committee and they will get back to you, because this is an important piece of information that should go into your decision making and college selection process. So just to explain the terminology, uh, some colleges need that to avail any student loan, you need a US citizen, or perhaps a PR, at least backing your loan as a guarantor, as a co-signer, as they call it. And uh, it gets harder if you don't have a US citizen who's willing to do this for you. Unless you have a relative or, I don't know, a very generous friend living in the US, uh, it won't be possible, even if you get an admit and later can't arrange this person to avail that kind of a loan. So it's good to know in advance and filter out colleges who do not have non-co-signed loans. Um, and then there are colleges which also offer various kinds of financial aid. That also depends on, some colleges do only merit based aid, some do merit cum means. Some have specific kinds of scholarships for certain different kinds of nationalities. So look at all of that and see what ones you're eligible for realistically, to do your planning around how much loan would you have to take, how much, I mean, are you even eligible for certain kinds of scholarships or not? So that should definitely go into, so geography, visa, finances. The fourth is around, what is the college very, very good at? I mean, these days, most colleges have like every stream, right? However, by the virtue of being very good at one field or the other, the resources and the support you might get in your job search for a specific discipline might be more. Or forget even the resources. Perhaps resources could be common, support could be common, but if some school is traditionally known to be excellent at one field or the other, you'll find more alumni in that field. And hence, the guidance you will get or the alumni networking that you can leverage would be more in those specific fields versus a new field that you're trying to study at the same college. So keep that in mind as to, shameless plug, but Wharton is a great school for any discipline you want to study. But if somebody were to study finance and wants to becoming an investment banker, and you have the choice to attend Wharton, why not? Um, I majored in entrepreneurship and marketing and operations. But at the same time, I felt the school was great for that as well. But I also then know that, but it's a mecca for finance, right? Traditionally, we are also known for that. Fortunately, it gives even the marketing and the entrepreneurship courses a strong data-driven or quantitative approach, which is very good. But like Wharton is traditionally known for one kind of speciality. And I would say that anyone who wants to enter the Wall Street has the best shot if they have the choice and can afford to go to Wharton. So that is my take. Also, when choosing colleges, consider the way they teach. So some colleges do case methods, right? And that might work very well for some people, and some colleges like Wharton have instructor-led training. Training as in the classes, the teacher will teach you something and then there'll be an open discussion, or the teacher might also give you some case to read and come and just start the discussion in a like a HBS mode. But make sure you're comfortable with what is the primary way of teaching in that college, so that you can make the most of it. And if you're not a self learner and you hate going through cases on your own and just participating in an all group discussion mode of classroom learning, then you might need to reconsider your choice of colleges. And more than just reading about it, if you can afford to, especially after getting an admit, when you have a narrow set of choices, do see if you want to visit each of these campuses or take a trial class. I believe the adcoms allow that. And you sit through the class, you see how do you feel around the mode of teaching, the general infrastructure, the city in which you're going to live, and then make this decision of which one to attend. For your shortlist, I think it should be fine. You should apply to the college regardless, unless you have strong inhibitions against one mode of teaching or the other. And last but not the least is the weather. So uh, I would say if you have the privilege of visiting the campuses or living in these countries beforehand, think about where do you want to live in the medium term and where will you feel the happiest. It could be the culture of the city, it could be the weather, um, it could be, say, when I was in US, I would see this healthy rivalry between East and West Coast people. And yeah, some people love West Coast and they can't stand East Coast just because of the cold weather. And while West Coast is mostly very sunny, and vice versa, a New Yorker might not really love West Coast and they'll always love New York. So if you have preferences like that, and if you have the opportunity, um, understand the geography, the climate wise, culture wise, whether it's a role that it didn't require you to live in a suburb or a city. Understand all of these things before you make that decision. It shouldn't, I wouldn't say it is the most important factor, but it does affect your. You'll spend at least 2 years at the college. You would later on take a role either in the same geography or hopefully in the same country. That would mean that the happier you are and the more well adjusted you are with the surroundings, the better your quality of life, which would mean your quality of mind, your quality of adjustment, your circle of friends, all of that would be, and that would affect your mood, your happiness, your performance at work, and general well-being in life. So yeah, keep that in mind. So to sum up, I discussed the factors while shortlisting a college, or while choosing which one to attend. If you have the privilege of having multiple options, as 5 factors, I discussed geography, where you want to work. Um, then the second one was visas. Third was financial aid. Fourth was what is the college like historically good at and known for, and fifth is yeah, the weather, climate, culture, like general life in that place you're going to invest a lot of your time and energy at. So yeah, that's it from my side. I'll see you in another video. Bye for now.